We're back in the kitchen, and this time we're cooking up another exciting breakfast for you. Now, breakfast doesn't have to be monotonous. You don't have to eat the same thing over and over. That's why we're using polenta today. It's a coarse maize meal. You can use it if you want to do a savory dish, if you want to make it as a porridge. But Nondumisa is here to show us exactly how to do it to satisfy the cravings.
Yes, right. So you mentioned earlier when we were talking normal, regular maize meal, right? There's some maize meal we grew up on. This is something special because it's a bit more sort of luxurious. It's really delicious.
Exotic.
It's exotic. I really encourage people to try it. I was very familiar with how to use polenta in my savory dishes, but I recently discovered using it as a porridge is also just really wonderful. So it's really simple to prepare, as you said. You want to start off by adding 2 cups of water into your pot. Ooh, our pot is really hot, right? So it's sizzling hot there. Then, of course, you add some milk. Okay. And then you want to add the polenta. Now, you want to first look at the polenta and see how beautiful it is. So it's always good to admire the food.
Got it.
Yes, always do. Then you add your polenta. And then you want to stir it nice and gently. Whisk it preferably just to prevent any clumps from forming. And can you just help me out by slicing up a banana? You're slicing up another banana.
I'm a sous chef today, so I'm just cutting up whatever you need. So again, some nice sliced bananas with this. And this, I can imagine, also would keep you nice and full for longer because it is like a maize meal.
And it's rich in antioxidants and vitamins, and it's also gluten-free. So really cool for those who, again, have irritable bowel syndrome or celiac disease, or just if you just want to have a different porridge, right?
And if you're just gluten, just
intolerant
or you don't like gluten, or sensitive and you don't like it, then this is a perfect recipe for you in the morning.
Yes. So you want to keep stirring your polenta, and as it's cooking, this is how you actually elevate this dish, right? You want to start off by adding some vanilla extract. You can add any type of flavor you like. We're using vanilla extracts because we love it, but you can also use vanilla essence if that's what you have at home, or you could use cinnamon. It's really up to you. The point is to play around in the kitchen and have some fun.
Ooh, right. Cinnamon then would give me that nostalgia, like the maize meal with cinnamon, some brown sugar, lots of milk as well.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Warm, comfy food.
Yes, for breakfast. And then I like to build up the flavor as I'm cooking the polenta. So I will add a little bit of my sweetener. So you could always add it while you're cooking the polenta or afterwards. It's up to you. I like to add a little bit in there just as it's cooking to make it extra special. You may add a pinch of salt if you just to taste. And as well, I will always say this, I don't mind adding butter while it's cooking as well, because you want it to be extra creamy, right? But of course, I understand some people are watching their caloric intake, so if you are on a diet, then maybe leave out the butter. But if you don't want to leave out the butter, then you can also add it as you're cooking.
If you want all that fuel, all that yumminess, all that goodness, because peanut butter with anything, I mean, especially with something like this, the creamy porridge, will just complement it so perfectly. And then we also have the fresh fruit to again elevate this recipe.
Yeah, and as I said before, you can play around with your nut butters. Always explore, be inquisitive, right? So you can use peanut butter, you can use cashew butter, you mentioned almond butter, you can use any type of butter that you want. And you want to cook the polenta until it starts to pull away from the pot. That's how you actually know that it's cooked, right? You want it to be thick, but not too thick. So it should be thick enough to coat the back of your spoon. Right?
Because everyone has their different preferences. Some people like it nice and loose, so they would add lots of milk to it. Is that how you'd get it to be a bit more loose and not stodgy, I guess?
Yeah, so if you don't want it too stodgy, then you add a bit more milk, okay? That would just make it nice and loose for you, if that's what you prefer. But if you want your porridge nice and dense, you then would obviously add less milk. Okay.
How did you come up with this recipe? I'm just thinking, a lot of people would have it with like savory dishes, with a steak, a good piece of fish. What made you go like, let me actually try to make this as a breakfast porridge?
I don't know how I came up with it. I literally was thinking to myself, what if I use polenta as a porridge? And actually, it tastes so good once you finish it. It could actually be even a dessert. So you could make something like, you know how they have rice pudding? It could be like something like a pudding. It's really that good.
Thank you so much for your brain cells. If you want this, because now you brought it to us on live TV.
Yes, I mean, I certainly didn't come up with it. When I looked it up, I was like, oh, I guess some people have tried it already. But then you want to garnish once you've cooked your porridge and it's, as I said, started to pull away from the pot. You want to then put it in a beautiful bowl, and in your bowl, you garnish it with whatever fruits you want, some berries, and add some more butter, right?
Why not be adding more butter?
More butter. To this? Yes, always, always, always. And a little bit more maple syrup. It's really up to you to decide how much of the sweetener you want. Some people don't like any sweetener at all. And I also would like to drizzle some milk as well on top of it, just again to add that extra sort of softness.
I don't think we can ever go back to a boring breakfast after you have touched, you know, just our pots right now, because you are serving us all the goodness right now. But if you want to get your hands on this recipe, it's very simple. Head on over to our website, expressoshow.com. You can get the full recipe list of what you can do to get this ingredients, and make sure that your breakfast is not boring, everybody. Polenta porridge served either with whatever you want to do it, and this is how you elevate your Tuesday. Yummy.
Right?